What's going on, everybody? Another episode here of my draft analysis, and this is my top 5 most intriguing. In this episode, I'm going to try and get 2 in. I'm going to try and do DK Metcalf, and I'm going to try and do Drew Lock in the same episode. Hopefully, I'll have time to do that. I just want to try and get as much out before the draft tomorrow, which you're probably going to be seeing this tomorrow, like right before the draft. Because, like I said earlier video, I have a lot of editing problems right now, so they're going to kind of just be pushed out raw, unedited. So let's just dive right into it. This is going to be DK Metcalf to start, and hopefully Drew Lock later. But DK Metcalf, you look at him, and that guy's a freak. He's got a 6'3", 6'4" frame with a blazing 4.3 40. That is insanely fast for somebody at 6'3", 6'4". Now, that is a perfect example of the height, weight, speed receiver that these NFL teams are looking for now. Your number one receiver has to be somebody tall that can go up and get the ball. Somebody like Gronk even though he's a tight end, he was their number one wide receiver really in the Patriots offense for the past few years. Amari Cooper is a tall receiver, got a lot of speed. That's the Cowboys' number one wide receiver. Alshon Jeffrey, really tall, a lot of speed. That is the number one receiver for the Eagles. Same thing with A.J. Green and the Bengals. So you see a bunch of different guys who have this height, weight, speed, and these are some of the most successful wide receivers in the NFL, with the exception of Gronk, who's probably one of the best tight ends to ever do it. So, but my biggest thing is, yeah, that all looks great on just looking at him. But I was watching another video about DK Metcalf just to see what other people thought of him as well. And somebody who I actually really like, Strong Opinion Sports, he used a very, very good analogy about him. He's like cookies. You're baking cookies, and there's a point where they look good on the outside and looks like they're ready to go. But then you test them on the inside, and they're still like very mushy and dough-like on the inside. He's not fully ready for the NFL, and he's not really a number one wide receiver in an NFL scheme or a round 1 draft pick. He looks the part, and he has the speed, but he can't run routes very well. In one direction, he's great. On a fly route, he's great. If he's going on a slant, his footwork leaves something to be desired. But if he's not changing direction a lot, if he's not doing like a corner, he's not going to fake you out. You know, you're doing a corner, you got to fake the post and then go into the corner. Same thing if you're doing a post. You got to fake the corner, go into the post. So he can't run those routes very well where he has to move more than once. A fly route, Hail Mary, whatever you call it, he can do that great because he's just relying on that speed. He's going to blaze past somebody, and when he can't, he's going to jump over them with his insane jumping ability and his 6'4" frame. The footwork is something you can work on. You see a lot of guys late in their career who start to work on it because they start to lose their way a little bit with the footwork, and they rely on different things. You see it a lot of wide receivers. These guys are using their athleticism more than the basics of the footwork and the route running and stuff. So it's not a big deal. It's something that can be worked on, but the thing is with me, his injuries. I don't know where we came up with the fact that DK Metcalf is worth a first-round pick. Like a guaranteed first-round pick, number one wide receiver in your scheme. Because in 2018, he only played 7 games due to a neck injury. 2016, he broke his foot in the second game and he missed the rest of the season. In 3 seasons, he played 21 games. That is not a lot. So now you have to worry about the injuries. I mean, it's a neck and a broken foot. Those are 2 pretty big injuries, but the broken foot is one of the biggest things. You see guys like Dez Bryant who never fully came back from that. He broke his foot, and then he was a shell of himself ever since then. So, yes, he's younger than Dez was when that happened, but it's almost comparable to when you tear your ACL. But then, even when he was healthy, he wasn't all that dominant. 2017, in 12 games, he had 39 catches. In 2018, in 7 games, he had 26 catches. That doesn't jump out to me. If you're somebody who's going to dominate, in 12 games, I'm expecting more than 39 catches. A number one wide receiver sometimes in a game can expect 10 catches. Like a true number one wide receiver. There's games this year where Amari Cooper for the Cowboys had 10 catches in a game, but more likely you're going to see somebody, a number one wide receiver, get 5, maybe 6 catches a game. About that. Still, that's not on pace. For 12 games to have only 39 catches, it's not dominant enough to me. 26 catches in 7 games is a little better, but not great. I think a lot of that hype just comes from looking at him. Yeah, he looks the part, but he's not a great wide receiver. This is not a knock on anybody. This is not a personal attack. This is not to say he's not going to be good. This is just what I see when I look at film. And nothing jumps out at me when I watch the film on him. He looks to me more like a tight end, if you ask me. I mean, yeah, he could be a really good wide receiver, but I think he could be a really good vertical threat tight end. Somebody like an Evan Engram, but taller. If he can bulk up maybe a little bit more, he could be like Gronk. Gronk didn't really have the greatest route running, but he had a little bit more speed than other people, and he was stronger. He would just out physical you. He'd throw you around, and he would just bully you. And somebody like DK Metcalf, I can see being a very good tight end of a Gronk, Jason Witten type player if he can be in the right scheme and he can bulk up a little bit more. Because he's huge for a wide receiver, but for a tight end, he's, I don't know, he's kind of too small to be somebody like a Gronk. But you can clearly see on film that he's lacking in technique and he gets away from his basics. That's not going to work in the NFL. In college, you can totally get away with that if you're just going to use your size, your speed, your freak jumping ability. You can rely on that in college, but in the NFL, it's not going to work. Because these guys, these corners that are covering you, are some of the most athletic people in the world. Some of the fastest people in the world. Byron Jones and the Cowboys. I know I reference the Cowboys a lot, but I obviously watch a lot of Cowboys football. He's going to jump right there with you. Byron Jones recorded the highest vertical in combine history. One of the biggest broad or farthest broad jumps in combine history. So he's going to be right there with you. When you're jumping up for that ball, he's 6'1". He's going to be able to jump up there with you. You're 6'3", 6'4", with pretty good jumping ability for that size. He has great jumping ability for 6'1". So he's going to be able to match up that to you when you're jumping. So you can't rely on that in the NFL. Some of these guys are coached so great. Somebody like Richard Sherman. We had Chris Richard over there in Seattle with the Legion of Boom. I don't care who you were not beating Richard Sherman with just your athleticism. You had to be a great wide receiver with great route running. You were not beating him just by being fast. That's the thing that we have to realize. Yes, this is a league where you need a lot of speed, but you also have to be disciplined. You have to know the basics. You have to have good technique. And I don't see that with DK Metcalf. He tends to rush himself. He doesn't fly off the snap. He doesn't pick up speed very quick. He doesn't jump off the line very quick. To simplify, he's not smooth. He tends to be kind of stumbly, and when he has to change direction, it doesn't look like it comes naturally to him. It looks like he's thinking about it. It looks like he's questioning himself, to put it in the simplest terms. So when he's changing direction, he's not going to be good. You're going to be able to jump on him right away. You know what he's going to be doing. You should be faking. If you're running a slant, you fake outside and you come in. That's what you have to do, and he can't do that. He takes too many steps in one direction and takes too long to cut back in the other. It should be quick, almost one motion, and he can't do it. He can't get off the press all that well, and somebody of his size, somebody of his strength, you should be able to get off the press a lot better, but it's not about strength, being able to throw someone. It's about being able to swipe their hands off. You should come up either do like a wax on, wax off kind of thing, is one of my coaches called it. Just swipe the hands down, pin the wrist. There's a lot of different things you can do to get off the press. He doesn't use the technique. He just wants to use his strength. And then there's other times where he just wants to push you, bump, and go. Which, with a smaller corner, that can work. But if you're up against a number one corner, a lot of times you're going to be somebody who's not that far off from you, about 6 foot to 6'2" you know, like a Richard Sherman type, 6 foot, Byron Jones type, 6'1". That's what I could think of off the top of my head. But still, those are taller guys who aren't that much shorter than you. So if you're going to have somebody in the slot or a slot corner sized corner, 5'10", 5'11", yeah, you could maybe throw them around a little bit and then blow past them, but it's still not going to work. They still have great technique. That's why they're a slot corner. Slot corner, you need to have the technique because you're going to have the small, shifty guys in there, and they're fast too. So they have good technique. So overall, my final analysis on him, he would be a good second-round value, maybe even third-round value pick if you have the patience to reteach him the basics, and you could work on his route running like a lot. Basically start from the ground up, just reteach him everything that you would teach a high school wide receiver and work from there. And if you could do that, he has a very bright future in the NFL. I view him like a John Ross type. I figured we would have learned this with John Ross. He was a freak athlete, but he didn't have that route running ability. So this should be a learning experience with John Ross that we shouldn't overhype DK Metcalf. All right, that's all I got for you guys on DK Metcalf. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.